Alright, Carson here. This one is for my hometown slash history perspectives. So the name of my hometown, I'm technically from Hannahville, but my address says Wilson, Michigan, and right next to us is Harris. So that's like all together, we're basically one community. However, Hannahville is the reservation, Wilson is off reserve trust land, and Harris is like the other community that we're a part of, or we are included in. If we're talking about Hannahville, the racial demographic is Native Americans. There is about 400 of us probably on the reservation. In total, we have just over 1,000 tribal members. If I'm talking about Harris, or like Bark River area, the racial demographics are mainly white. However, Bark River Harris School is the public school that I attended, and the student body is predominantly 84% white, 10.3% Native, 1.8% Hispanic or Latino, and 0.1% Black, 0.3% Asian, and then 2 or more races is 3.6%. So there's a very, very small variety, not much, predominantly white. I would not say that there's a particular area or neighborhood that we should avoid. However, for personal reasons, I avoid some areas, but that's just because certain people in the community I don't want to be around. I think the most infamous scandal it didn't happen in our hometown, but it happened right outside of it. And there was a teacher. It was at the ISD, which is like 10-15 minutes away from our public school. And there was a teacher who got caught sleeping with the janitor in the janitor's closet, in which she was fired. They both were. They were both married at the same time, too. However, she ended up getting fired and came to Hannahville Public Schools, or Nottawash Public Academy. And yeah, so it's just like she has that reputation. Most kids at Hannahville knew about her because they attended the ISD. So it's just kind of weird. It was hard to make connections with her when I worked with her. But I would say that's the most infamous scandal. We don't have much going on in our town. I feel like it could affect the reputation of the residents because one, like, the residents are like the school board there who interviewed and hired that lady. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of blown over now. It didn't really ruin a reputation or anything. I feel that I could make my hometown more attractive place to live or visit. And I'm talking about like Hannahville when I say this, just because that's like my main community. Just by helping the youth find healthy ways to cope with things and healthy activities to do and other ways to keep them busy. Or, which I already have helped with previously, is at Nottawash Public Academy. I helped with their after school kids zone program, and we would like do some educational things, but we'd do art, we'd play games, we'd go outside, play in the gym, like a healthy after school activity rather than going home and doing whatever they feel like. So I feel like just being there and being a voice for the children and yeah, making sure it's safe and clean of drugs and alcohol and abuse and that type of stuff. I don't know if there's been any notable changes or struggles in the history. Really, it's pretty small. I mean, yeah, I really don't think so. I mean, except for like for Bark River area, no. For Hannahville, we have come a long way. Because on a reservation, you are your own government. So just trying to get that government built and stable and steady and keep going. It was probably the biggest challenge. And I mean, we still struggle today. However, we've come a long ways since I was born, because just a few years before I was born was the first time we got pavement. It was dirt roads for the long time. I don't know of any folklore or myths or anything tied to my hometown. I mean, there is cultural things, but nothing specifically in our hometown. The population, I would say Bark River has gotten much bigger. It used to be, I think it's still considered a village, not a town, but it used to be much smaller. Like, they have expanded and community has come together more. And I think that's just because of our school, because that's like the nearest thing to us. It's a little, you're not in the city, but you still have neighbors. Everybody like knows each other, and our school district won like in the nation for a few years. So I think during that time, people were attracted to our school district and wanted to move, and yeah. The local culture and community has changed, but it hasn't. I mean, we have the reservation there. So most people are educated, and if they're not, they're whatever. But it's been mainly indigenous and white culture, and it's very conservative, Republican, and I'd say that's all pretty present today. I mean, we started with nothing. I think Bark River just had its 100th year anniversary this summer, or the past summer. So, yeah, much hasn't changed with that. However, there is a couple more stores, a little here and there, like a Dollar General, but they build in every field, so we know. But the biggest challenge that my hometown is facing, which I would say is Hannahville, that's not being addressed adequately, which there has been some improvement, but I would say it's like the substance abuse and misuse and the kids that witness that and have to deal with that and then end up doing the same because that's the only way they know how to cope, or their parents enable it and provide them with those things. So I feel like that's just a big challenge, because you can help the adults, but it's harder to help the kids if nobody, like the parent won't admit that they're supplying it, or the kid won't admit that they're doing it at home, because if you don't have that proof, yeah. And the kids are sometimes told not to talk about things. So, you know. But aside from that, I'd say we have a pretty great community if we didn't have addiction and abuse and stuff like that. We do have a lot of good resources, like we have a social services department on the reservation along with victim services department. There's a lot of resources. It's just the struggle to get people to use them. Is there anything about my hometown that makes it feel like it's stuck in the past? I would just say the people. In Hannahville, no, I think we've come a long way. In Bark River and the more predominantly white area, I would say they just need to be more educated and understand that, or I would hope that since there's a reservation right next to the school, that people would educate themselves on Native Americans and other minorities and just not hold themselves to such a high privileged, or like yeah, I don't know, but it's just like, I don't know, personal opinion, as a Democrat, I feel like they're mostly Republican and they are racist, and I just feel like that's not okay in today's society, and they should learn and educate themselves and work past that.